It was just one of those things. We were doing this track, and Bruce Sugar, who was, the engineer, and we always write a song together, and he plays piano and stuff. But anyway, it was just one of those things. Rewind forward was like a line for the song, and it just sort of made sense in its weird way. But it was just one of them. Yeah, that's it. And if you rewind forward, so it was a Hard Day's Night sort of blast. And to make sense of it is that, sometimes it's good to rewind and get to a spot you were at and then go forward with that, because you get lost in the shuffle. Well, I'm making all this up because it just came out, yeah, rewind forward. And I thought, no, well, people will be asking, what's it mean? And I think it means that, you sit still for a while, you rewind, and you find, oh, I was a much better person then, or this was working for me better then, I'm going forward. So you can carry on going forward. You don't have to ever live in the past, but just check it occasionally.
Sometimes a beautiful turn of phrase, you find the profound meaning afterwards.
Yeah.
It's also your fourth EP in 3 years.
I know.
It's a lot. We'll use the word prolific.
Yeah. Well, it started because of the pandemic. And, the first EP, we're all wearing masks and we've had our shots. And second EP, a couple were wearing masks. And, then it got like last year, as long as you had your shots, we could work together. But for something to do, I didn't want to make a CD. That looked like too uphill. So I thought, well, let's just do an EP. I loved EPs since they first came out, in the 60s. And extended play. I thought, this will be good. And then I heard the kids are making EPs. So I thought, oh, that's good. And I also heard the kids are playing cassettes. So the last 3 EPs came out also on cassettes. And I just got rid of my cassette player, you know what I mean? Okay, bring it back. And so, and I started calling a few people, and like Steve Lukather was in the All Stars, and I thought, I'm going to ask them to like put some stuff on it. So when it comes, it's not just a man and guitar. It's got some bass or some piano or whatever. It's got some track on it. And everybody said, oh, yeah, okay. And so that's how we started. So I'd really just played drums and percussive and sang it. And we've advanced through that to, by chance, I've finished another EP, a country EP. A lot of my life I didn't plan, but it works. And I was actually in this hotel. Olivia Harrison was reading her book, Poetry for George. And I saw T-Bone. And I've met him since the 70s, bumped into him. So what are you doing? What am I doing? I'm doing this. And, if you've got a track you think would be good for me, a pop track I'm talking about, maybe you'll put it together for me. So then he sent me this incredibly lovely, beautiful, meaningful country song. So he actually opened the door. So I said, oh, why don't I do that too, a country one? So that's what I've just finished now. This one's been, the one we're talking about, Rewind Forward's been out quite a while. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it just, it's what I love to do. I love to play, Besides that, I played on, it's easy now, because I played on several people's record, and they weren't even in the room. They just send the files. And, I get off with that. I usually do 2 takes and then say, that's it. Use me or lose me.
And I'm thinking they're using you.
Well, yeah. So far, so good.
When you're talking about the cassettes, now I'm visualizing a literal rewind.
Yeah. Well, that's where it comes from, doesn't it? Rewind. But it's also rewind in life.
Yeah.
Because, there's so many changes in life. as you go through it.
Next.
I mean, I had like 6 songs, say, that people had sent, so we picked 3 that had more of the sentiment that I like. And if I'm part writer, it'll always have peace and love somewhere in it. And, you know, so it just, you know, there's no like great story. It's just that I called a lot of friends, like I did for the All Stars, and they came up. I mean, this one is incredible because Ian Hunter sent me his files, and I played, and so did Tom Petty's guitarist. Yeah, Mike Campbell. And so we called Mike. Well, I had worked on one of Tom's records and he was there, but you know, we hadn't worked together. And he had a track which I loved, so I put drums on it and sang it, and that's how it worked, because he'd put everything else on, you know. So I don't know when I start where it's going. You know, that's how it works.
I have to ask about Feeling the Sunshine because Paul wrote that one.
Yeah, well, we FaceTime each other like twice a month. And, or if he's in town, we hang. If I'm in London, we hang. And I said, well, I'm doing an EP. Have you got any songs? Write me a song. And he said, oh, okay. And then he sent me this one, the Sunshine Song. And he's all over it, which is great. And when he did send the work track, he'd actually done the drums. So we had to take them off. So I did the drums and the vocals, and it was fun.
And the Peace and Love refrain, of course, was
Well,
you.
yeah. I mean, most of them have, even if they start like bad decisions, you know, like rough, things are bad, there's a change where things are good. If you can change, it can get better. Or, you know, it always means Barbara, but the woman in your life has sort of changed you through that turmoil, or helped you get through. So the change goes on like that. Or you just look at the stars one night and you change, you know. Reach for the stars. That's in the song.
That's the optimism we need.
Yeah.
I'm also curious about, you're about to go on tour in something like a couple weeks now, and you are also on tour in the spring, is that correct?
We do.
Pretty recently.
In the spring, it's 5 weeks.
Okay.
We did 22 gigs, but that's from rehearsal to last gig. We do 5 a week usually, because you know it's a band of frontmen. It's not like, you know, talking about Paul. He's the front man, like Elton's the front man. You know, I'm the front man and the back man. Because you know, I play drums to all those guys' tracks, and they play for me, and then I do several of them down front, peace and loving with the audience. I love to be down there, so I get everything I need, and I'm still doing it. So life is good.
I think if some musicians, if they had the option not to tour, they probably would take it, and here you are.
Yeah. Well, right now, I mean, it's been very big news. A lot of people have said that's the last gig. And, you know, I say that after every tour, and my children and my wife are fed up with me. Because, oh, yes, you said that last time. You know, it's like, it's just, I love to play, and I need to play with a band. You know, I can't go out just with the drums. I might do that one time.
That'll be a farewell tour.
Yeah.
Just
What would you do if I sang out of tune? You know, what? Where's no one else? Yeah.
You could do it.
Yeah.
Young
Fine.
Storm by himself.
Yeah. Just
Go
hum
ahead.
along with me. Whistle or do what you like.
There's been so much talk and sort of excitement around this final Beatles recording.
Yeah.
And a lot of confusion as well.
Well, there's no confusion. The confusion is that Free as a Bird was on the same tape, and Jeff Lynne and a friend of his lifted John. Now, we had another way. Peter in New Zealand, the director man, Jackson, said he had a machine called Mal, after Mal Evans, and it can lift stuff out of a track and out of a tape. So it's been lifted that way now. But it's still 4 boys on that song. And, you know, that is John. I mean, the rumors were it's like we just made it up, like we would do that. I mean, it wouldn't, I mean, for me and Paul, probably, it would be pointless if it wasn't him. You know, this is the last track ever that you'll get the 4 Beatles on a track, John, Paul, George and Ringo. And, you know, it's interesting because, you know, Paul did the solo, and because we'd done 2 songs of John's off this EP, and when it came to this one, we thought, George mainly thought, well, 2 is enough. But, you know, we had listened to it, and he'd put a bit of guitar rhythm on and that. And, you know, I re-drummed, because I didn't really drum to it, I just sort of kept the beat. And Paul did it, and, you know, it came out of the blue from Paul last year. You know that song, why don't we work on it? Well, how do you feel about that? I said, great, let's put it together. You know, so we had all the parts, but now we have John in a much better place that when I heard it, it's John. You know what I mean? It's no messing. So that's all I can tell you. I hope you enjoy it.
Can you tell me if it's coming out this year?
I can't,
Okay.
because it should have been out already. So it's coming out when they decide. It's coming out.
Fair enough.
I've done my part.
Was that your first experience with any of that kind of technology? I'm just kind of curious if you're, you know, optimistic about what it can mean for recording, or if you have any strong thoughts about.
No, I'm from the old school. You grab a pair of sticks and you hit the buggers, and you know, you sing, and you have someone singing harmony with you or whatever. But you know, we have to move on. I mean, when CDs came out, I was like, what? You know, and it took me a while to listen to them, because they didn't have the sort of the joy of an LP. The vinyl has its own sort of, only because that's what I came in with. Mm-hmm. And you know, the CD is a little harsh to me. But now that was a long time ago. And so I started just listening to CDs and got to understand them better. You know, but there's still, you know, you make a track and you'll put it through the CD mixer or the vinyl mixer, and you get more warmth, you know.
Certainly.
Yeah.
But maybe CDs will be back. Cassettes came back. EPs came back.
What's come back?
No, EPs and cassettes.
Oh, yeah.
Perhaps, you know, CDs. Or
Yeah, well, where are the kids going? You know?
Just rewinding forward.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's where we all went. We all backtracked, you know? I mean, it's far out. I mean, the CD, I mean, also, you know, that's mainly the musicians backtracking to make it this, that, and the other now. That's been there for years. I mean, I think a lot of the kids now are streaming, that's all. Mm-hmm. None of them have a player of any kind. They just download it and play it. You know, I remember we'd buy amps. Wow, listen to this amp, and you know, wow, what's it giving you? Great, you know. But you know, the Beatles actually are doing well. They're streaming really well.
So I've seen.
Yeah. So it's far out, and you know, some days it blows me away. That's like every generation still has a listen. You know, to check out what were they really like.
I'm sorry.
No, just that, you know, the beat goes on. Well, yeah. Well, George was very prominent in my solo career. And, you know, he was the one. I'd left the band by then, and I was in Sardinia. You've heard the story, and where Peter Sellers' yacht was down the pier there, so we gave him a call. Well, I'm here with a couple of kids, and lend us your boat, mister. And the captain was talking to me because we were going to order fish and chips, and he gave us octopus and chips. Yeah, can't eat octopus. And but then he was telling me, and you know, I have to admit, in those days, a spliff was very handy, and that the octopuses have gardens. They go around collecting stones that are shiny and stuffed, and they put it around their cave. And, oh, when you're stoned, that was like the best thing I ever heard. Octopus's garden, and I had my guitar with me, which I play 3 chords. That's about it. And that's when I got it going. I'd like to beach under the sea. And I would then, because I was things had happened that I was separated from the band. And they were all great, sending me text and stuff. Come on home, we love you. And I went back and I had that piece of song, and, you know, that's how it worked. George came over, and then everybody joined in. And, you know, that's it.
And we get to experience a little bit of it, which is...
Well, yeah, you see the action of it,
yeah.
You know. But, you know, you talk about that documentary, it was so great. You know, I'm tired of telling people I hated the first edition because there's no joy in it. You know, there's a lot of joy, there's a lot of humor, there's a few little fights, there's a few playing with the kid, there's this. You know, it's like life. Over a month, it's like life. And it's so great that, you know, any 4 people, that you have ups and downs. But they're really, you know, the down is less than the up. In my case, I loved it. And the main thing with that documentary was that we went directly to the roof when I'm playing. It's like, get back, you know. And how the hell did I get to that? Because you see me all over the movie going like, you know, just playing straight. And I thought, how did I get to that? Anyway, Peter Jackson found some footage, and I'm going like, you know, get back, you know how it goes. And then I'm going, just 4s. And then on the roof. So that was its natural way, you know, and that's what being a busker means, you know, because we're all buskers. None of us could read music or anything or put it right. But that was one of those moments. How did I get to that? And that's how I got to it. Because while they're writing the songs and everything was written in that space, you know, I'm just like holding it together, giving it some tempo, and not really playing anything else. Because when it's finished, I can play. That's when I can give you me. And as you can see at the end, I give you me. But while they're writing it, because I need to, you know, it's a thing I have where I write to the song. I mean, I play to the song. And, but it was magical. I mean, the 4 of us together was, with headphones on, eyes closed, we knew there was going to be a move. You know, no one will understand this if you weren't in the band. You know, okay, and let's bring it down a bit for this part as it's going on, you know, not like, okay, we'll start here and we'll do this. Like, let's see where we go, and oh yeah, and let's keep that in. It was a great time of my life, being a Beatle. It's great. And I had 3 brothers, an only child. And that's life.
It makes me more excited about life hearing you talk about this. Yeah. There's something just really sort of optimistic and joyful about
I
the
do
creation.
have an optimistic attitude, you know, that if today's better, tomorrow will be better.
Yeah. While you're talking, I was actually thinking about another day in the life, specifically your photos of, like inanimate objects with faces.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, this is certainly a man who's looking for the humanity in everything, the
Yeah.
beauty in everything.
Yeah, it's, hey, just how I am. Look at that. What's that? It's like a bird shit on the floor. Oh, look at that. There's a face. Yeah. So.
And that's the secret to happiness.
Well, it's one of them. I mean, having a good woman in your life, having 3 kids and 9 grandkids and friends. It's all part of life. Well, when, the producer asked me to do it, would I do it? I said, what? Like train stories for kids and Mr. Conductor and, I had kids. They were past that. Now it was a spaceship with a gun or whatever they had. But it was like not so calm. And I said, I don't know if this is going to work, but I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll just go in my studio and I'll read 3 of the stories, which I did. And I sent it to them. And I said, let me know, if you want me or you don't want me. And they said, we want you. And, it's really what I did. I just read the stories. And it got bigger, that in New York, we spent years doing the animated one. Not the animated one, but the live one with the 2 kids. And, I was like the conductor then, but I was this tall because of green screen. Green screen, he wasn't really that tall. And I just read the stories. And then it came to a point where the father who wrote the stories for his son, he'd run out of stories. And the son started writing stories, and they got a bit like it is with more stuff. So I thought, no, that's it for me. I've done him, So, who knew? I mean, it's not, you get up in the morning and somebody says, hey, do you want to do this? Well, let me see. Okay. I've finished a country EP.
Finished a country EP.
And so that'll be the next one. And I've got one more in the pipeline.
And I thought 4 in 3 years was a lot. Do you think you'll ever kind of venture back into the album format, or is it going to be
I don't know.
EPs and...
You never know. Right now, I'm EP crazy. Yeah.
Well, we're enjoying them. Thank you so much, Ringo.
Hey, my pleasure. Peace and love to you and you.